The Bane of Brightwood, a creepypasta tale. In the sleepy town of Brightwood, nestled amidst the looming pines and blanketed with mist, rumors fluttered through the air like the autumn leaves that swept across the cracked sidewalks. If you were brave enough, or foolish enough, to listen, you'd hear about the creatures lurking just beyond the borders of reality. They weren't monsters in the traditional sense, but shapeshifters, beings that could weave themselves into your life without you even noticing. They were called creepypasta creatures, and the townsfolk always warned to stay away from the shadows after dark. 16-year-old Jenna Dawson was new in Brightwood, forced to move from her bustling city life to this quiet, mundane town with her parents. While everyone else buzzed about in circles, whispering about faceless horrors and mysterious disappearances, she shrugged it off, her skepticism layered with the bravado only a teenager could possess. One evening, as she scrolled through her phone, Jenna stumbled upon an online forum dedicated to local urban legends and creepypasta creatures. An ominous thread caught her attention. A story about the Grain Weaver, a creature that spun nightmares into reality, ensnaring its victims in a web of fear and despair. The more she read, the more captivated she became. Reports claimed it lived on the outskirts of Brightwood, an abandoned mill that the locals feared even in daylight. Why not check it out? She whispered to herself, an exhilaration tingling through her veins. After hastily tossing a flashlight into her backpack, she slipped out of her house late that night, her heart racing with both fear and excitement. The moon hung low, casting eerie shadows across the empty streets as Jenna made her way to the mill. The air felt thick with tension, and each crack of a twig beneath her feet echoed like a warning. But curiosity propelled her forward, and soon she stood at the entrance of the dilapidated building, its windows dark and hollow like soulless eyes. As she stepped inside, dust danced in the cold air, and the sound of creaking wood enveloped her like a shroud. She flicked on her flashlight, its beam piercing the darkness, illuminating long ago forgotten machinery and decay. Jenna's breath quickened as she wandered deeper, her heart pounding in rhythm with the distant thumping she thought she heard. "Come play," a soft, luring voice whispered. The sound ebbed and flowed like a breeze, wrapping around her, tugging at her consciousness. "I'm waiting for you." Fear prickled at the nape of her neck, but she couldn't resist. "Who's there?" she called, her voice trembling as she ventured into an adjacent room. It was filled with ancient, broken looms, their strings tangled like spider webs, stretching into corners and disappearing into darkness. Above her, the rafters creaked ominously. The voice spoke again, sounding closer now, sweet yet sinister. "Come and join me, Jenna. We can weave your dreams together. I can give you everything you desire." "Who are you?" she asked, anxiety gnawing at her. Just as she turned her flashlight to the source of the voice, everything went dark, a chilling void enveloping her. Panic fluttered in her chest. Then came a low, guttural sound, as if the darkness itself were laughing. Jenna felt a presence, a shadow growing from the ground and towering above her. A figure began to take shape, distorted and grotesque, with eyes like pits of crushed stars. "I am the Grain Weaver. You've wandered into my web," it rasped, a smile splitting its face, too wide, too sharp. "And now you will pay the price." She stumbled back, her flashlight flickering wildly. "What do you want from me?" Jenna gasped. "Your fears," it hissed, nearing her with a predatory grace. "Your nightmares shall be my threads, and I shall weave them into the fabric of reality. That is how I thrive." In that moment, Jenna felt her mind flood with memories, her fears, her doubts, things that plagued her daily life. The moments she felt most alone, lost in the suffocating obscurity of self-doubt. It was as if the Grain Weaver plucked each fear from her heart, turning it into a thread that wrapped around her. "No," she screamed, fists clenched. "I refuse." The creature paused, surprise flickering across its twisted features. "Refusal?" it echoed, its voice dripping with contempt. "No one ever refuses me." Drawing on an instinct she didn't know she possessed, Jenna focused on the light from her flashlight, gathering whatever strength she had left. Instead of succumbing, she shone the beam directly into the creature's eyes. The darkness screamed, a high-pitched, piercing sound, as Jenna's resolve solidified. Her voice rose above her pounding heart. "You have no power over me. I am more than my fears." For the first time, Jenna felt her fears retreat, dissolving into the light like shadows at dawn. The grain weaver recoiled, its form flickering as the beams pierced through. "You cannot escape me," it shrieked, the fabric of its web beginning to fray. But Jenna pressed forward, shining her light with determination until the creature unraveled completely into the shadows from whence it came. The room shuddered as though making one final protest against its demise. Jenna stood there, panting heavily, heart racing, until the room fell silent. She turned on her heel and fled back outside, the chill of night replaced by an exhilarating warmth as she burst back into the moonlit air. As she reached her home, Jenna understood the tales of Brightwood. The creatures may have lurked in the hidden corners of reality, thriving on fears. But she had faced one and found strength in defiance. For some creatures were real, but the deepest horrors often lay hidden within us, waiting for the moment of vulnerability to strike. The following day, she sold her phone and dedicated the time to confronting her fears one by one. Adult life awaited, but she knew she wouldn't go in unprepared. In the town of Brightwood, there were many more stories to uncover, a new kind of strength to forge against the lurking shadows.